In Pursuit of Truth, this is your host, Sir Patrick Mack. Boys and girls, has our service been restored?
You'll have the option of choosing from several of our completely unwarranted ripoffs, including internet speeds up to 200 times slower than Korea at twice the price.
Or have the cables been cut? Well, we may or may not have a Q sighting on our hands, and we're going to talk about that and a couple other things. So get on your Pursuity pants. As a matter of fact, you know what? Just put some pants on in general. You know? Goodness sake, show some respect. Let's get started. First things first, I want to say a big thank you to every single one of you for helping me pass 150,000 subscribers this week. I greatly appreciate all of you who've been helping sharing my videos, help get my message out, retweeting, whatever it is that you're doing, just liking, sharing, just being here and watching. I greatly appreciate it. And if you've been following my channel long enough, you know that we celebrate every little milestone around here with cake. Yeah, and we used to celebrate a whole lot more, but that was before Susan Wojcicki got all upset because I made a video that had the Weatherman in the title. Yeah, since then she's probably deleted 150,000 subscribers, but no matter, we persist anyway. And this is a beautiful cake right here. Look at this sight to behold. It's all function. It's no real beauty right there. It's like a Howard Rourke cake, all function. I ain't trying to play around with your fancy flowers and action figures and flying buttresses or whatever. Yep, nope, it's just a simple cake, straight to the goodness. Got no time for that. And I think that's sawdust on the top and chopped onions around the border. No, I'm just kidding. It's shaved chocolate and it looks good. So grab yourself a piece of cake. Thanks to all of you for everything that you guys do. Say hello to your neighbor, grab your coffee, and let's get started. Okay, so we are over here on qmap.pub, where we see that a few posts have migrated over to this board, which is a read-only board. We also have a coon.net. This will be linked down below for you. This is the Q research part of it, and this is all different kinds of posts, not just Q's posts, but all kinds of Anon's posts, just like HN used to be. Now, there will be some post-only boards and things like that, but I don't want to go way into that as of yet. I really would like to see some Q proofs first, but this will be linked down below. Now, we start off here at post 3571, 47 minutes after the hour of 2. We see we have what appears to be a test here, /BAS_test/2. And again, like I said, I'm not going to break these down big time until we know for certain that it's Q, although this does look pretty compelling. This is 3572, 2 minutes after the hour of 3. We've got what looks to be more security configurations, I'm assuming, /SEC configuration. We're not going to read all of these, but A/1, A/1 of 2, A2/3, D/1, D, I'm assuming this is D1 of 2, and then we have /security, I'm assuming that's security too, run, comms, safe 2, and then we have these DOD routes. I'm not sure if that's referring to the Department of Defense, but it looks like there's some separate channels here, 1 through 9, 10 through 19, 20 through 29, and yikes, that goes pretty high. And then this one here, which is DOD pack 1 through 99. So this looks like some test stuff, some test configurations. This is all kind of pretty similar stuff. We've seen Q do this before. Looks like they're testing to make sure that everything is cool. For those of you techies that want to weigh in on any specifics, if you think you have some specifics that you can kind of cue us into. But it looks like either way, they are running some tests, which of course CodeMonkey has also validated over there on Twitter. Now let's take you over here to 3573. 28 minutes after the hour of 3, we get this YouTube link right here. And it takes you right here to the YouTube page of editor slow motion shot of the American flag in the wind, and that's precisely what it is. This was uploaded to YouTube in 2011, May 27th, 2011, and it is a 2-minute and 55-second video of simply just this flag blowing in the wind. Now, for anybody who is curious, I went to post 255, and that is from the 5th of December 2017, where Q says, learn to read the map. You have more than you realize. So, is this a hello from QAnon? I don't know, but it looks pretty interesting to me. Then we got post 3574, 25 minutes after the hour of 6. We got 2 Twitter links here, and Q says rig for red. The first one takes you to 3 days, 3 nights on Twitter, where 3 days, 3 nights says 8kun.net live today, 93 days dark since post Q3570. That was the very last one on August 1st. And that one was this C before D, coats before D class. The month of August is traditionally hot. You have more than you know. And that was the last time. So August 1st at 7:54 p.m. through November 1st at 7:54 p.m. until November 2nd at 7:53 p.m. stop. Exactly 93 days dark. And then we see these brackets right here, 93 dark. And we saw this on post 3525. This post was from the 27th of July, 2019, and where this was referring to a status where Comey was talking about the corn. Remember, he was outstanding in his field. Was the corn ripe for harvesting? It is now, and this is where we saw this curious set of brackets with this 93 dark. So it looks like Q is confirming, or whoever's posting, if it is indeed Q, is confirming that this was exactly 93 days dark. Our next link comes to us from our boy Wyatt at Say When LA on Twitter. He does a lot of great stuff on Twitter. Veteran mob prosecutor John Durham was not appointed by AG Barr. Durham served as interim U.S. attorney since October 28, 2017. After Sessions appointed him. Coincidentally, the same day Q began posting. President Trump nominated Durham as U.S. Attorney on November 1st, 2017. F me, it's happening. And there I'm flashing you a little link to an article right there where you can see the date, October 27, 2017. Durham was named U.S. Attorney one day before the Q drops started appearing. All right, so it sounds like the corn is ready for to be cut. And finally, Q says, rig for red Q. So we talking about something about to surface. This sounds like submarine terms. Now I want to take you over here to, this is actually called moviemistakes.com, but I thought this was relevant because we're talking about the movie The Hunt for Red October, which Q has mentioned many, many times. But they're pointing out a factual error that I want to point out in relation to this. When the USS Dallas submerges to attack the Red October, they rig for battle stations as well as rig for red. On a submarine, rig for red is only for periscope depth operations at night to allow control room watchstanders' eyes to adjust to the darkness topside. No other area on the boat rigs for red. So it sounds like no naval ship would reduce visibility on purpose in a heightened state. Okay, so are we about to show something coming up towards the surface? Is some bacony, cheesy goodness about to arise? You tell me. So is Q wanting our eyes to adjust to the dark? Not so sure, but the Washington Compost posted this curious title. World War II's atomic bomb program was so secretive that even many of the participants were in the dark. This was posted on the 2nd, and I'm not going to go through it. I'll leave it for you down below if you want to see it, but it's just talking about a few of these physicists that were working on the Manhattan Project and how they were only working on certain areas of the project. And so they never really knew what they were building, and, just kind of telling them, that they had this sort of innocent view of the project, which is, really pretty common stuff when you're working on projects like this. Many times they're only working in one department, not realizing what they're putting together. But I thought the title was curious, thought I'd share that with you. So there you have it. And I'm going to offer up very simply, I am not going to confirm to you 100% as of now that this is indeed Q, although a lot of things seem to check out. The people who migrated these over to the board seem to think it checked out. The trip code is the same as the last Q post. That could mean a couple different things, but it could suggest that Q was never compromised at all. So it remains to be seen, but I would look at it this way. Either way, if you're skeptical or if you really believe this to be true, I think that Q would be aware of our skepticism. There are enough smart people trying to figure this stuff out that I think we'll get it sorted out pretty soon. And I would imagine that Q was prepared for a situation like this. If indeed Q needs to offer up a proof, I would think it would come in the form of some sort of sequential picture, whether we have seen previous pictures from Q before, and Q ends up offering up another picture that falls into that set. Q has their ways of letting us know what's going on and how to make proofs. We've seen a ton of proofs before. So I would think that this would be no different if it indeed is true. Now, if it's not, I don't think that all is lost either. I think there could be something sketchy about all this, but not necessarily with Q. Things obviously are happening. If you're watching the news, you've been following my channel. I know you guys follow tons of channels, and many of you guys are even up on things more than I am in a lot of different topics. So there's a lot going on, and we see that things are really, really moving forward. It looks like D-Class could be coming very soon. We were just talking about Durham and his criminal investigation. Things are moving forward very, very quickly. Democrats are moving hard for impeachment. And now we've got this whole situation with these extra messages between Peter Strzok and Lisa Page, Bruce Orr, Nellie Orr. Looks like we're going to get a lot more of those messages, which could suggest something so much more nefarious. So either way, I think we have enough, and I think we have a lot to be optimistic about. But it would be cool if Q does indeed come back. Now, I want to leave you with this. This came to me from an Anon from Sweden who was tracing this 8kun.net. Looks like it hopped off on and off a few different hosts, which doesn't necessarily surprise me considering the Q post that we just saw. They were doing some tests, and they were referring to a packet. So this might have been the packet that we saw bouncing around. But I just want to point out that at the bottom, it looks like a Russian site, vdsina.ru. So it gives me a little pause, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's nefarious. Just like an IP address or something, these things could be bouncing around all over the world. It's hard to really know what's truly going on, but I found it interesting, thought I would share it with you just to let you know. And for those of you who are really good with computers, maybe you even have better insight on that. Now let me take you through this thread I did on Twitter earlier this morning. I woke up and Bernie712 sent me this from ABC News. Injured by exposed electrical cable. Sounds like a metaphor to me. And here it is from ABC News. New dog involved in ISIS raid in Syria has been returned to duty, Pentagon says. The dog is a 4-year veteran who has participated in about 50 combat missions and was injured by exposed electrical cables. Now this is about a 35-second video. I'll let you check it out. I will leave this down below for you. But you'll remember this dog. This was the dog that POTUS tweeted out. And the original tweet, they had not released its name. And of course, you could obviously say that that's because we don't want to trace it back to the operator or whatever. But I want to point out that POTUS even highlighted no name, the words no name. Now, no name, of course, is a nickname for John McCain. And according to Q, they say we don't say his name and has constantly referenced John McCain as no name. So I want you to keep that in the back of your mind if you're not familiar with that. So this dog originally came out with no name. Has participated in about 50 combat missions, quite a veteran. And then they said in this video that he has returned to the arena. Now, there's been some questions to the sex of this dog. Originally, it was a he, and then it was reported to be a she. But the name turned out to be Conan, which is obviously a male name. And it's not named after Conan the Barbarian, which is totally dope, and a male. It's named after Conan O'Brien, which is not as dope, but also a male. Either way, it's a male. So we didn't know if this was a female dog, male dog. All right, no big deal, right? But let's keep in mind that it originally, before it was called Conan, we just called it no name. Well, it didn't get blown up. It got injured by exposed electrical cables, which led me to think, I see some exposed cables here too. And you can see a picture of the Sitch room right there. And there's POTUS and Esper and Pence and Millie. And they're all getting around the Sitch room there. We can't see everybody's that's pictured in there. Now I want to point out, you will see in the foreground here my IPOT logo on the iPad. That is photoshopped. It's awesome Photoshop, and I thought it was pretty sweet, but it's not real. Be cool if it were, though. We don't know who's sitting at that iPad. But what I want to point out here is that I've seen other pictures of the Situation Room before, but I've never seen this opened up. It looks like this opens up here to expose, different Ethernet cables and whatnot. But it's been left a mess here. Now, in most pictures that you'll see in the Situation Room, this is actually closed and there's not so many laptops on the, you don't see all the iPads. You'll see a little monitor like the one that you see near POTUS, but you won't see all the laptops. So it could be that they just busted it out here, but it seems like a lot of cables here. And you can see this red one here, the detached cable here that's not connected to anything. Seems like a mess for such a posed picture. And keep in mind, it's a posed picture. The other pictures that you'll see where you don't see the mess usually are more candid pictures and stuff like that. They're not posed the way this is. They're actually looking towards the camera. So it seems to me like they want to highlight the cables. Scrolling down, an IT person weighs in with the obvious. And I don't know this person. Arkansas Diamond on Twitter says, as an IT specialist, I must ask, why are the cables exposed like this? Well, I thought the same thing. It just seems like such a mess. Remember, they're posing for this picture. It would have been real easy for some continuity person to come and grab this and yank it out of the way. They do it all the time. This might be kind of a reach, but a few years back, we had some exposed cables of another kind. Remember, before going to Jordan, Nancy Pants Pelosi went to Afghanistan. If you remember, this was just last week, right? And this was right around the time that Esper was also going to Jordan. But the day before, Nancy Pants Pelosi went to Afghanistan to meet with Ashraf Ghani, who is the president, but also a former Minister of Finance, But this video here is from Reuters. I definitely can't play that. But this was in regards to these diplomatic cables that WikiLeaks released some years back. And I want to just highlight this particular one was between the White House and various embassies all over the world, diplomatic, whether it was some sort of ambassador or whatnot. They were going all over, but they were coming from the White House, and it was very, very suspect. And in particular, no-name John McCain actually got caught too with a WikiLeaks release. I don't think it was the same release, but this was in regards to him wanting to talk to Vitaly Churkin, who was the Russian ambassador to the United Nations. And this was in regards to getting a donation to him and Sarah Palin's campaign fund. So McCain was involved in some exposed cables, if you will. So a dog who originally had no name, McCain, was injured by exposed cables. POTUS also mentioned that they knew about the tunnels in Syria. I wonder if this helped. Maybe this dog will hunt. And you can see the picture here. Here is Senator No Name McCain right here. I don't remember all these names right off the top of my head, but this is Muaz Mustafa from the Syrian Emergency Task Force. And of course, over his shoulder is Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, who was recently killed. Now, if you ask me, and this is just a suspicion, but it would seem to me that this was in the area that got shelled the first time, actually. This would have been last year, but it happened again just the other day when we killed al-Baghdadi, right? And you can see the tunnel markings down there on the windows there. They look like little spider webs. We talked about this in September of 2018, and we were talking about McCain being out here. So what's he doing out there with al-Baghdadi? And were there some exposed cables that led us to al-Baghdadi? Could that have created the panic? And was that why Pelosi and Schiff were out there talking to world leaders in the Middle East just around the same time as Secretary of Defense Esper was? Now, McCain died on Dog Day, being National Dog Day. And I say, for those who debate that he died the day after, it was already Dog Day in other parts of the world. I kind of misspoke there. What I meant to say is that it was already Dog Day in other parts of the world, meaning that it would have seemed like beforehand. But yes, he did indeed die on Dog Day. And of course, Q had predicted that months before, saying, every dog has its day. I guess there's plausible deniability that Q didn't predict it, but it seemed like Q might have known. Our dog, now Conan, was hurt by exposed cables. Maybe not the same tunnel, but highly likely the same tunnel network. Yeah, if you go back to my videos from around the time that Q posted those pictures, we were talking about Homs, Idlib in Syria, and a lot of those tunnels got bombed out, and so did the nearby airport and a nearby munitions depot. And of course, POTUS got a lot of flack for that, but it ended up being very, very few casualties and a lot of munitions being destroyed. Major Patriot is picking up what I'm putting down and then some. I tried to grab the thread in one shot, and this is Major Patriot on Twitter at Q2ndWave. Short thread, allegedly military intelligence has communicated that cables were found from the U.S. State Department at the Baghdadi raid location. Yes, you'll remember POTUS said that we also found some information out there. A diplomatic cable, also known as a diplomatic telegram or embassy cable, is a confidential text message. A diplomatic cable is a type of dispatch. Other dispatches may be sent as physical documents in a diplomatic bag. Diplomatic cables are protected by the most elaborate security precautions to prevent unfettered access by the public and unauthorized interception by foreign governments. They are always encrypted, frequently by unbreakable one-time pad ciphers using key material distributed using diplomatic couriers. Why does the State Department still send cables? It's a combination of factors, including record keeping, secrecy, and career advancement. Cables allow the State Department to keep a permanent record of diplomatic efforts. These documents are typically declassified after 25 years. And diplomatic cables include detailed routing information indicating who should be given access to him. So are these the cables that we're talking about? My guess is we are showing someone that the cables have been cut. This is a posed picture. A candid photo might cause me to believe that they might have had that mess of cables out. And that's like I just said earlier, right? It looks to me that they were showing from end to end some communication has been broken. And like I said, go see for yourself other pictures of the Situation Room. I may be wrong, but the ones that I've seen, this is normally closed. Laptops are off the table, and usually only a handful of monitors like you'll see here with the POTUS. Finally, let me leave you with this. This is from the world of MMA outside Madison Square Garden right now. This is at UFC 244, which is the Ultimate Fighting Championship. Massive MMA event being headlined by Jorge Masvidal and Nate Diaz, one that I have to say that yours truly was excited about. Unfortunately, Nate Diaz got a cut on his face and was not allowed to continue, but quite an event. And POTUS was there, which made it even bigger. Now, depending on which media outlet you listen to, you'll be told that he was either harassed with boos or lauded with cheers, when the fact of the matter is, he had a little bit of both. It was mostly cheers, but of course the major media conglomerates are going to tell you that he was just basically getting booed out of the building. Wasn't really the case, but that's up to you to decide. But what I want to turn your attention to is this right here, this video of the protests outside. And as you can see, you can't really read it there, but in the background there are some Out Now posters. They're all the same ones, yellow and black. And then in the foreground, you see these black and white ones that say impeach Trump on one side and riseandresist.org on the other. Well, I'm no genius, but it wouldn't surprise me if riseandresist.org funded the coin for those sweet little signs. After all, it's not like they're all making homemade signs. They're all walking around with printed ones. And of course, Trump haters never really understand how that works. It's not exactly grassroots if somebody with a lot of money's paying for it, right? Well, I'm not going to take you to the site, but I want to flash you a couple things from riseandresist.org that seem extremely sketchy to me. And of course, this is a very, very what they would consider progressive kind of site. I would consider it a little bit more fascist, but whatever. But they work with Act Blue, which is of course a very, very typical Democratic fundraising slush fund, platform. And it wouldn't surprise me if this is a Soros-esque outlet. I'm not really sure about Soros himself, but it wouldn't surprise me at all. But where I do really suspect that this is going is likely Weather Underground co-founder Bill Ayers. Now, let me just show you this real quick here. This is my next tweet. Not too hard to figure out who funds these morons. And let me blow that up for you here. Now, this was in regards to one of their previous events. This event was on the 23rd of September, and it was a march right around the time that President Trump was speaking to the UN. But you can see, as one of our participants is the Council on American Islamic Relations, or CAIR, otherwise known as Muslim Brotherhood. And of course, this is the group that is also funding Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar. They are funding this. Now, again, it was the previous event, but still you can see what's up. Now, you can see another one down here is Refuse Fascism. Okay, Refuse Fascism is Bill Ayers. It is his site. He doesn't put his name all over the place, but it is his little thing. And keep in mind, Bill Ayers' father, Tom Ayers, was a media titan. He had tons of money. So as much as Bill Ayers would love you to think that he's just some simple activist, the guy's got a ton of coin. I mean, this guy, his father pretty much ran Chicago for many, many years. But refuse fascism definitely is involved. And as you can see right here from the New York Post, more cheers than boos greet President Trump at UFC 244. Well, thanks for telling the truth. But you can see behind the protester right there, there's a big, slick red and black banner. And in the foreground, there's your yellow and black, sweet looking signs. Nobody drew in crayon. Trump something something. I can't really see what it says, but you can see down below, it's refusefascism.org. So we indeed know that we were dealing with Bill Ayers. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with Bill Ayers or Bernadine Dorn and the Weatherman Underground, I highly suggest you check out this video entitled The Weatherman IPOT Presents from the 21st of June. This is all about the Weatherman Underground and how a lot of their activism relates to events today. And for those of you asking about part 2, all I can tell you is I can't give you an ETA. Let's just say life has not been the same since releasing this one. Things have gotten a little bit more difficult for Sir Patrick Mack. All my source links have been removed. All kinds of things have happened. My channel has been, like I said, people have just by the thousands at times have been unsubscribed. Actually, at one time I saw 5,000 in 1 minute get deleted from my channel. So I'm doing my best, but I am making a lot of headway on that. I got nearly 2 hours of material. I don't really know if it'll be quite that long, but it is coming along. And instead of giving an ETA, like I said the first time, I'm going to put out a trailer, and that's when you'll know I'm wrapping it up. But thank you guys very much for the interest. And if you have not seen this video or you just want to get memorized, I highly suggest checking it out because it's very, very relevant today. Finally, let me leave you with this. This is Mike Ritland here on Waters World with Jesse Waters on Fox. Ritland is a former Navy SEAL. He's also a dog trainer. The dog with him is Nero. Hint, hint. Wink, wink. But Ritland also has a podcast called the Mic Drop Podcast. Really, really good, entertaining stuff. And he says something really brilliant to Jesse Waters right at the end here. And I want to thank Carly Bond for filming this. The audio is a little sketch here, but the best part of it is you get to hear Carly's laugh. So check it out.
And he can't wait. So thank you and thank Nero for your service. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. If I could I throw a PSA out real quick?
Real quick.
Just the remarkable nature of these dogs and them being highlighted in the news creates a... If you see the coverage and you decide I want one of these dogs, either buy a finished trained, fully trained and finished dog from a professional, or just don't get one at all. And Epstein didn't kill himself.
Okay, thank you.
And Epstein didn't kill himself.
Nicely done, mic drop. Giving a mic drop on Jesse Waters. And it looked like Jesse Waters was handling it just fine. All right, kids, that's all I got for you as of now. But I have a feeling if Q is going to keep us busy, I will be back very, very soon. But until then, I'm going to go back to looking at web pages that have been deleted just for me. Yep. That's how my search has been going. As always, if you like this video, please click like, share, and subscribe. Thanks to all of you who do that. And thanks for helping me get to 150,000 subscribers. Not you, Susan, but the rest of you. Thanks so much. I greatly appreciate it. I highly suggest checking out one of my alternative links down below in case something happens to me on Twitter or YouTube. You can join me on Gab or BitChute or whatever your preferred nomenclature may be. They're all linked down below. If you've got information for me, please email me. I greatly appreciate that. Do not DM me on Twitter or something like that. It's a lot easier, and I only check my email. So please check my email, and that is down below. My P.O. box is down below if you want to send me something old school, and my Patreon is down below if you'd like to support the channel. All those links are down below, and I will also leave you the Q research link down below. And when I say down below, for those of you who aren't familiar with what that means, the very video you're looking at, there's going to be a little see more in the video description right below the screen. Click on that and you'll see all the links open up like magic. Yep, or like even more than magic, math. Yeah, it's like math, which is like magic. All right, kids, that's all I got for you for now. Until next time, stay funky.